Hey guys, welcome to Coaching with Chris. Look, the theme of the week, we've been talking about it, is communication, and like 4 bullet points, really quick, 4 bullet points that I want you to think about. Number 1, make sure that your message of how you're communicating with everyone is simple. Sometimes we make our message so hard, so complicated that the consumer actually doesn't understand, or even your referral partners. So make sure that your message is simple. And number 2, see the person. Look, my friend Nathan Under always says only and exactly. We can't treat every single person exactly the same. We all have different personalities. We all think differently. And so we've got to be able to cater our experience to the way that person is in front of you. And secondly, only means is that that's going to be the only person in front of you so that you are actually catering to them. We can't be on our phones. We can't be distracted. We can't be thinking about all the other problems. We're only thinking about that person in front of you. So be thinking about that. And lastly, don't send an email. Don't do a message. Don't do a meeting without asking for a response back. Many times we say, hey, let me know if I could ever help you in the future. That doesn't ask for a response back. Well, a response would be, look, if there's anything that I could do for you, I would love to do it. And if you know anyone thinking about buying, let me know. I want to help them. Would maybe be more of a question that you could get a response back. So I'm super excited. Look, I wanted to bring a few realtors on throughout this series to be able to help you understand. Many of you are struggling with realtor relationships, and in today's market, partnership, and even in the future of where we're headed, partnership is key in working with the client. Number 1, it helps the client experience. It helps the realtor and it helps the lender when the two are connected. And I thought Melissa would be perfect candidate to be able to bring in. So Melissa, are you there?
Hey, here I am, Chris. Hi.
So I mean, I know you, but I don't like know you. And so I get to know you a little bit better today. Uh, she's a realtor here in Sioux Falls. And I would love, first of all, like start this off. Tell us your real estate journey. The first question I always love to ask is that why did you pick real estate?
Sure. My real estate journey starts back to 2012. I was here when Keller Williams opened up in Sioux Falls. We were the first Keller Williams office in the Dakotas region. So back then, I started out on the management team, had 8.5 years on the management team, helping agents with everything from recruiting them over, training programs, getting into productivity. I mean, you name it, I did it. And then in 2020, decided to go onto the sales side of things, which is, of course, where I did see myself going eventually. Joined a team, was on a team for 2 years, and then in January of 2022, launched my own team.
Cool. You probably learned a lot by being behind the scenes, supporting and being on that management group. What were like 1 or 2 things that you said, okay, I'm going to get into real estate. I'm going to do it differently because I've seen some successes. I've seen some failures. Like,
Yeah.
how did you think about, okay, I'm going to start this in 2020, by the way, awesome timing. And,
Yeah.
but like, how were you going to do it different? What was your plan?
So I always think back to a lot of the one-on-ones I'd have with agents getting into the business. They were coming from the corporate world, maybe coming out of college, all different scenarios. And it's like, if I could always sum it up to them in one word that their success would need, it's consistency.
Mm.
Of course, in this business, whether lenders or agents, there's just a lot of inconsistencies. It's really hard to say what an average lender or average agent can do out there in the marketplace, right? Because there's just a huge range of effort and time and, schedules and things that people will try to work this business on. So that's really like the word it would always come down to. I saw, of course, over the years, a lot of inconsistencies. And the people that were killing it, that were living a big life, in this business are showing up every day. They're predictable with their time. They understand how to create time blocks, how to have their priorities. And so I knew that it was going to be that for me for sure. But the biggest reason I wanted to make that switch is I, of course, understood at a high level that this industry is a very lucrative opportunity and a financial advantage that 90% of career fields you get into, you don't have.
Mm.
And I like to not have a lid on
Yeah.
my life. Yeah.
So, I mean, how's 2023?
2023 has been a really good year so far. I mean, as of right now, my numbers are what I sold all of last, or at where what I sold last year.
Wow.
And last year was a doozy for me for a lot of reasons, personally and professionally. And leaving one team, starting one without a plan. The way that first quarter of 2022 started out, of course, was a little bit rough, if you will. A lot of time to get people under contracts and things of that nature. So this year, I made a promise to myself that, well, really, it was in November of 2022, that I would not ever again take advantage of the basic principles of this business.
Right.
And no matter what, I'm not going to get distracted again on those things. And so I have just been completely hardcore on about 3 different things in my business this year. And I just have zero worries.
What are some of the basics that you think lenders and realtors don't do?
Well, I mean, I would say again, they might do them, but are they doing them week in and week out without fail? That's really, of course, what it comes down to. So for me, and I know you're a big proponent of the Greatness Tracker and core coaching. I did core coaching for 2 years. So for me, it was, I'm not going to treat the Greatness Tracker as homework. It's opportunity, and it is my business. Like, that tracker is my business, and it's the proprietary actions and business that I actually get to own and have control over. So that's been the big one. And then for me as well, it's also been just creating a consistent schedule. Like, every single Tuesday, as much as I can, looks the same as the Tuesday in front of it and the Tuesday after, and really trying to create like predictability from what I do and how long I'm doing it. And then the third one for me, like that I've changed this year, is just open houses. I just can't say it enough. So my rule this year is, if I take one weekend off, that's great. Take it off and don't have any guilt around it. Don't feel like I have to work that weekend, but then I jump right back on the next weekend. I never have 2 weekends in a row without being out there meeting people at open houses.
I think, I hope everybody hears that what you said, which was, I'm going to stick to the basics. And what was so cool, like even gets me excited, is that you said, I made a promise to myself. And look what the result did. You've already matched last year's production. You started out stronger in the gate, which then computed to some huge successes. I know you just sold a really big house, which was another huge success. Like, it's working, and it wasn't complicated. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think the last few years, like, a lot of us could feel like we could sprinkle certain activities or habits and not go deep, and we could be shallow on a lot of things because business, of course, was in abundance, right? We couldn't keep up with the leads. We couldn't keep up with applications. We couldn't keep up with people wanting to jump. And the thing is like, right now, it's like that reminder that you actually need to only have a few things you're doing and go deep on those. And can you say that you're doing any of those things all the way? And to me, it's just given me freedom with my time. I don't have as much shiny object syndrome as I had, constantly going, where's my next deal coming from? What marketing piece and what lead platform do I need? I don't need any of it. Like, I just need these few habits to go all the way, and then my business shows up. And so to me, it's just really freeing mentally to realize that that was all I needed the whole time. And then my numbers are there.
Do you find yourself struggling some weeks with the Greatness Tracker, and how do you get yourself back on track without beating yourself up?
That's really good. Yeah, definitely. So I spend a lot of time on the whole mindset piece of business and life, and seeking things out to get inspired, to stay a badass in the whole thing. And I mean, I spend a lot of time on that. And the thing is at the end of the day, I still am going to have hard weeks. So yeah, it can be situational. Like, what does that week look like? Or certain things spinning out of control personally, or with schedule of, we might have 4 or 5 listings hitting that week. Well, that's now business. And so, but that can, take you off track. There's absolutely weeks where it's not exactly where I want it. And again, my whole thing is, well, I'm not going to judge it off that or judge myself. This is what I'm doing every single week, no matter what. But couple things, again, if I'm not treating it like homework and I'm truly excited to do it, this tracker goes with me everywhere I go. So I've just not had as much struggle with it.
Like you keep it in your purse or you keep it in the car? Like how do you
like I've got a notebook and it's on the front page in a folder in my notebook and goes with me everywhere. Because at the end of the day, like the tracking should inspire you, but if you're not really good at tracking consistently throughout the week, like you're not inspired to do it. You're going to forget that you actually did have all these opportunities in front of you and conversations you had. But if you didn't track them, you kind of lose the sizzle a little bit. So for me, it's just having it with me everywhere I go.
Cool. I know you have some realtors that are part of your team. Do they follow your lead? Do you think they're like watching you now and then saying, maybe I should be doing what Melissa's doing? Or where do you feel like, your team and inside office is doing to follow what you're doing today?
Yeah, that's a good one too, because holding others accountable, of course, is not the easiest part of this business. And accountability comes in a million forms. I have accountability with lender partners of mine and friends of mine, and so not just people on the team. I really want it to be where people are focusing where they win. So I have a very experienced agent on my team who's 22 years in the business, and she's not going to track things the way that I do.
Yep.
I can try till I'm blue in the face every day, and it's just not her thing. But her thing, is absolutely her VIPs. And so I'm working really hard to coach her week to week to come up with a plan to go all in on her VIP, part of her business. And then what can she do daily, weekly, monthly regarding that plan? And that has been really good so far. And it gives her energy. And then I have another agent, 3 years in the business like myself. And she absolutely is. I mean, we use our tracker, our lead trackers, our greatness trackers, our VIP tracker. And I mean, her business too this year has surpassed last year.
Wow.
So we do get energy from being able to report these things to each other every Monday and show each other, I turn in my tracker to them just like I ask them to turn it into me.
Yep.
And so I think the biggest thing for me is truly carrying out the things that I ask my team to do. Because it is, like you mentioned, showing that it is that simple.
Yeah. I think the large part of this audience is mortgage originators across the country. Some have been in the business, a short period of time. Some have been in a long business and, just have not really had an open conversation maybe with a realtor that is like, what does it look like to be a partner with a realtor, from your side of perspectives. And I think it generates lots of questions, but number one is that I'm sure you get calls all the time from lenders. So like starting out in the beginning, what would it take to get a meeting with you?
I did have a meeting about a week ago with a new lender that I had never had a one-on-one with. And he just truly wanted to mastermind around the market right now. Discuss what he's seeing, discuss what I'm seeing, pick my brain, I guess, from my perspective. I just consider myself like every day, as nerdy as this sounds, like a student of the market. And I don't know it all ever. And so I am constantly wanting to be engaged to have discussions around what someone is doing that maybe I should be doing. And honestly, some of my biggest lessons in my habits and like carrying out my day has come from lender partners of mine. So I rarely will turn down somebody asking to meet, especially if I can tell that it will actually be like a collaborative conversation.
So
from there, I decide if I want to meet him again, right?
Right. And also, I can't wait to ask this next question, but I want to go back.
Yep.
Like they approached you in a, hey, let's just learn together type piece. I want to learn from you. I know that you're doing really good in this market. And because of that honor, you took the meeting.
Yeah.
The next space is how good are lenders with follow-up? Like they get this first meeting and then what?
Yeah. That's a double-sided question, Chris, because I will say, how good is the follow-up of a realtor?
Okay. Okay.
Horrible.
Sure.
And I hope everyone, knows that. I realize that. Um, so, at the end of the day, realtors are not always the easiest, schedule wise or personality wise to follow up with. And that's, just same as, any client out there or lead that you're, going after. It's the same situation. But I will say that yes, like there's a lot of ideas tossed around or discussion of follow-ups that don't happen. And maybe that lender is not being trained on how to truly dive deep into a relationship. They're more transactional. Hey, when you get someone, I'd love to help you out. I'd love to do that application this weekend. If you get someone at that open, okay, well,
That's a turnoff, right?
are you offering to host the open with me? Are you, like, what are you doing to help me generate business and to turn those leads faster? And it really to me is, the follow up is like someone who's actually going to dive in and do those things with you. And it not just be like that shallow back and forth, conversation. We can all have those every day, but it's not generating anything for me. I'm going to stick to those few people that are out there working the weekend with me, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, I mean, things that you would consider being a partner would be first, you just mentioned it, working in open houses. What would be some other ways where you're like, yeah, or that maybe they've been partnered in the past where they're like, these things really do work and
Mhm.
realtors really do enjoy this type of partnership or help?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a couple that I work with all the time, of course, with out of Plains. And so one of them actually, so even though I geek out over the greatness tracker myself, one of the things that gives me the most energy around doing it every week is the fact I have to turn it in to one of your lenders every Monday at noon.
You do?
Yeah. And her assistant. And if it's not there right at noon, I'm getting a text message.
Oh
And
my gosh, I didn't know this. That's
yeah.
awesome.
And so like that to me is huge because I truly believe in like if you get to know a lender or an agent really, really well, what makes them tick, what their goals are, number wise, and just in life, you don't feel bad to call them out. Like I've heard this months ago and it sticks with me. Like true like accountability and partnerships is not calling someone out, it's calling someone up.
Calling someone up is awesome.
And so I view it as like that lender is not trying to call me out because of course I didn't say that, I didn't get it in by noon. They're texting me because they know that I'm worth doing that for, that I want to hit certain goals and that they're calling me up to those goals. So I would say, when you can truly get to know someone and build in some form of just regular accountability, regular check-ins, leads and discussing business and, passing back and forth deals is huge and is definitely why we do this. And at the end of the day, the same time is like provide something that others are not going to, because we know 90% of people in this business are not willing to do that.
Yeah.
So my true partnerships are going to come from the 5% that are going to jump in and do those things that others are not willing to do.
Help you in your business,
Yeah.
help you calling you up, which is so
Mhm.
good. I'm gonna have to steal that now.
Mhm.
And also being able to get in the weeds, work an open house. What about events? What events do you do
Yeah.
through the year? Are you got something planned coming up or
Yeah.
something creative that maybe could help everyone?
Sure. So with us being a newer team, we just stuck to an annual event the last year and a half. So every summer we do a big patio party. That is for all past clients and Sphere based. So we usually have a few hundred people. We have a DJ. We've got drinks and food and food truck, stuff like that. Super fun. So that's like an annual routine. And then also
What
like
month? What month do you do
we
that
do
in?
that in June,
Okay.
mid-June.
Okay.
Yep. And then what we have coming up that I want to start getting into is breaking up that sphere and focusing on VIPs and providing value to people. So in 3 months, we're going to have a lawyer come in and do a little like routine on how to get your will, how to get different things established in your life that maybe you don't have going. There's a lot of people out there running around without those things buttoned up in their life. So if we can provide an hour and a half to educate them and give them resources on that, I think that is massive. In September, we have a ladies' night. So
Nice.
September, and I'm partnering with a lender of yours. So September 21st, we'll be closing down a women's clothing boutique and then having drinks and food catered in.
Juliana's there.
It's going to be at Leela and Lavender.
Cool. I
On the
don't
south
know
side
much.
of
I
Sioux
only know
Falls.
one, so that's cool.
It's right by Tavern 180. And so we're going to be having like a private shopping experience. The store offers them a really good discount to shop that night. I figured it's right before the fall transition. People will want to get out there and shop. And it's a way to get face-to-faces, but that's a VIP. So it's something that does not go out to our entire database. Each of us on our team have 30 women that we can dial in on and invite and focus on and go from there. And then I have a lender partner that will be sponsoring that with me.
That's so cool. That is a great idea. And, I was just talking to my loan officers, be rememberable. Like do something to be like, if you help me with my money, if you helped me with my, with a wardrobe or have some fun, and we got to, meet other women, like you will be remembered. And that's what gets you more referrals and more opportunity.
Yeah, if you can provide value and experiences, I think that's, of course, what it boils down to.
Open houses. What's the trick?
I'd say just doing them. So here's my thing. I'm not a planner. I am not someone that creates. So if it's our listing, of course, we do all the marketing, the flyers, the full gamut. But I host a lot of opens that are not my listing. I host a lot of new construction opens. I partner with a couple builders here in town to host their opens routinely. I show up and I bring my business card, and that's all I do. Because what I can tell you is if I had to do 4 hours of prep throughout the week, it's not guaranteed I'm going to do it. And then maybe I don't sign up for those opens. My biggest thing is I just make sure that I'm doing them again, minimum every other weekend. But there might be times where I'm doing 3 weekends in a row. And I just figure, yes, the traffic is spotty right now. Some weekends are great, some are not. I just never see it as time lost, because if I have an hour to stand there by myself and dial in my calendar for the rest of that week, or to follow up with leads that I didn't follow up with that week, or to stand there with a lender and be able to mastermind for an hour, it's freaking worth it.
It is.
Right? It's time, it's valuable time that we fight for during the work week that I can use to move the needle forward. So to me, I have just learned to absolutely embrace and love having those in my calendar on the weekends. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is you have to know how to enter the dialogue, how to build rapport right away. And I never ask, who's your agent? Who sent you here? I'm just truly asking them, like right away. I'll be like, tell me what you hate about this house.
Right.
And they're always kind of like caught off guard. And it's just like, if you learn what to ask right away, you find out their objections, you find out exactly how serious they are.
Right.
And then the conversation goes from there. So I'm very much an assumable close type person. I will stand and talk to someone for 25 minutes and offer help and answer things about every neighborhood in town and this and that until I find out that I can't work with them. Because I would rather them walk away, and should they not be able to stay with that agent or get under contract in time, I know they'll come back. Versus if I'm there to just gatekeep and find out right away if they have an agent.
I think that everyone needs to know that.
Sure.
Lenders, realtors, because I think there's a lot of gatekeeping going.
Yep.
They shut communication off.
Yep.
It gets weird. It gets awkward. And then you've ruined that experience for you for the future. So hats off to you for doing that. What? A couple questions left, but what do you feel is pain points for realtors today that lenders could help with? Like, what are the biggest pain points? Is it database management? Is it calendar? Is it consistency? Like, where do you feel the industry has pain points?
Sure. I would say, like, historically, I mean, agents, it would shock you to know how many agents run around with no database. So database management and time management are two that I feel agents continually struggle with no matter what. I would say too, like the biggest thing that I think agents and lenders can be masterminding and sharing ideas about left and right, that, you know, we're out there marketing why now is a good time to buy a house. The opportunity, right? The market of the moment. It's so great. We can negotiate for you. Yes, the rate is a little bit high, but we can get you, you know, extra equity out of your home right now. We can help you pay off debt. We can, you know, like we explain the market of the moment to the market all the time, to prospective buyers and sellers. But I think like there's a lot of agents missing the mark right now as to why now is a great time to kill it as an agent. And a lot of people are just comparing the last 3 years to right now, or the 3 previous years. There's a lot of agents that got their license in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that a lot of these agents don't understand the job description.
Yeah.
Because they never had to actually live it to get some sales under their belt, you know, during those markets. And so especially those lenders that have those years and have worked several different markets, there's just a lot of people that need to be reminded that this is such an opportunity right now. So get that consistency, get the greatness tracker, get the habits going, build that accountability partner, because people do really need it right now.
I think you guys all understand why I brought Melissa on. She's so cool. She's so grounded. None of us are perfect. I am so far from perfect, but you know what? She picks herself back up. She goes out and knocks it out the next week and makes herself better. So my last question for you is that what's the big 5-year vision for you?
Yeah, wow, you must be in my head, because I think every day I wake up wondering that. I would say, like, for me, my goal is to have my team down in the Omaha market. That was a goal that I set when I started this team. And like you said, we're not perfect. I did not hit some marks last year that for me, I decided, you know, was like this, I need to focus. I need to stay grounded here. I need to get the team up and running the way that it needs to be here first before I spread myself too thin.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is, of course, I want to set myself up to understand that I don't want to do this forever. I want to be able to do real estate because I love it. But to create those freedoms, like I need to live my days out to do things that others are not willing to do right now. And that was something I heard on a podcast, Chris, where a measure of success of a day is, did you do things that others are not willing to?
Right.
And so, you know, these next 5 years is really like being just 3 years in the business. My next 5 years truly is about building this very, very strong and sturdy so that I can then make other decisions in life or with business down the road. So
Cool.
it's to go all in on the simple, boring side of the business and
Right.
to love that. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how a lot of us don't want to do the boring side, but that's where all the fruit is?
Yeah. I mean, it's like truly what it is. It's, you know, don't show me what you do every now and then, show me what you do every single day. And, you know, you can pretty much look at where someone's life is and, you know, determine, are they following what they're supposed to or not? And again, I'm not perfect at it either. What I have come to find is that I'm obsessed with the idea of being really good at it. So to me, it's that I wake up every day going, it's that 1% better mentality. Like, how can I tweak today to be a little bit better than yesterday, or this week to be a little bit better than last week? There's always those room. Like, there's always things I'm not doing that I should be doing. But that like excites me because it's all opportunity to grow, to make more money, to do better. And so those are the things that get me excited about this business.
I love that. You know, guys, I know we're wrapping up, but here's the thing. Go find a Melissa in your market. She's amazing. She's driven. She's good at marketing her product. She has a great team. And her story, look, she's been in the business 3 years, but she was in the backside, behind the scenes things, which makes that front side so much easier for her because she saw a lot of mistakes. She saw some successes, and she followed a really good group, a really good owner that has been very successful in our market. And all of those things makes this perfect recipe. But she's willing to do the boring things, willing to do the hard work, and to be able to get where she wants to go. Look, I appreciate you, Melissa. This was super fun. You are so cool. And I'm just honored that you were able to come on this call with me today.
Well, thank you. And I have to, of course, plug the fact that a lot of these things I've talked about, I've learned from partners of mine, you know, in your business. And your trip last year I went to, and Coach Burt, and a million things that I got introduced to that I didn't know before, that trip. And that's all been extremely helpful. So thank you as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
Guys, have a great day. Have a happy Tuesday.